I'm ready. Just for think we may start. And Chris will join me.
We're live now.
Okay. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's drop-in, or design drop-in. And we're going to be talking a lot about certain things that we promised last week. With me here is Chris, setting up, but we don't want to take much time to start. So we promised that we're going to touch on auto layouts, and we're going to combine it today with variants, components to show how all of them work together. I'm just going to use an example. I know it's you guys have been taught, but we want to show you more examples on how to combine and use most of them in design. So, Chris, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, sir, can you hear me, please? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, man, excited to be here again. So, yeah, that's just the problem.
Okay, so there's a file we'll be working with, Figma file. I've gone ahead to take the liberty to make a screenshot of the design. So I think before we start, I will show we'll show mobbing if anyone hasn't or is not familiar with mobbing. Let me just share my screen. So mobbing is a website where you can get inspiration. I know some of us are familiar with it. So you can get, if you have premium, all the better. But even if you don't, you can get different designs just to play around with and learn from. So we are looking at maybe trying to replicate this screen. This is an open table. So if you just type mobbing.com, you'll see this. So I've done the liberty of screenshotting it on Figma. After this call, we're going to publish this file and share with everyone. So this is what we are going to use auto layout components to do. So hopefully we're going to be mixing them together. Yeah, Chris, want something?
Yeah, sir. I guess I joined Billet. So I'm just going to quickly ask if what's it called? If you've already informed them what we'll be touching on today regarding what's it called? Everything.
Yes,
components, mockups, variants. Yeah.
yeah, I think I forgot mockups. So we'll be talking about, we'll be showing you how to use mockups. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So how we do it, just drop your drop your questions in the comment section, in the live chat section for us, and we're going to pick the questions if we have time. But yeah, today we're getting our hands dirty on Figma.
Yes, so hopefully we are going to show us a lot of things with the limited time that we have. So let's just get right into it. I started creating this, but on a second thought, I said let's use components for this. So it's going to be a mix of it. So we are going to be using components and variants a lot. So for us to get something like this using components and variants, so I just copied this out by clicking and dragging while holding my Alt key or Option key. So if you drag it out, so that's another way to copy out a specific thing that you need. Let's name this default, and let's name this selected. So selected, we want the color to be, so I've gotten the colors that they use for the application. It's no big deal. If you go to Mobbing, you'll see the colors here. So with this, we can have the selected and default. I think we can go a tad bit further by adding a line below it. Chris, what do you think? Should we do the line or leave the line separately?
I think we should just do without the line. Yeah, if you ask me, I think that's what we should do. The whole idea is just to make them understand how how it works. So I think that works for me.
Okay, so with this selected, we're going to make it a component. With this selected, we're going to make it a component. So we have two components here, default and selected. So what we want to do is to select both of them and combine as variants. And we're going to name these variants tabs. And what we want to do is when someone click on this default, it should change to selected. So can do a prototype, short prototype for it. So once on tap, change to selected. I can leave it at instance. So what we are doing now is we've gotten this and we've gotten this. So let me just remove this. Drag this out by doing copy. Now we can change we can edit it to bookings. And change it to selected. Sorry. So if you notice, this is going out of the it's going out of the line. So you don't want this to be happening, and you don't want to be dragging it yourself. Yeah. So what you need to do is come back to this and set this to, so it's set to left now on the constraints part. So what you want to do is to set this to let's get into it. So you have to set it to left and right. So let's see. Oh, because we are not using auto layout. So let me add an auto layout inside it. Make this 0. So with this inside, we want to make it few. Okay, so we have this, and we can get this default here and work our way through experiences. I think after this, we will see how it is, how it works. Delivery and take away. So you select all of them, use this tidy up to make them have equal distances. You can reduce the, let's say 16. So let's say you want this to go back to default. You see it goes back to default. And you want this to go back to selected. You can go back to selected, although it's changing the name. So you shouldn't change the name. There's something wrong. Chris. Are you seeing what I'm doing, Chris? Are you talking? Chris, you're on mute. Okay, so let's continue. If you're on Zoom, please, can you confirm if you can hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So with this, let me return it back to selected. And let's walk our way through the main thing that we want to do, and which is auto layout. So using auto layouts, let's get this. So these are my plugins. They bit much, but you can have yours. This is Iconify plugin of, it's a very nice plugin to use. So I want to do this part of the design and have it as we're looking for this icon. So I'm going to be a little bit fast. So let's see. User, this is just a profile. If I can see this exact one. Okay, let's use this. So let me just drag it out and reduce the size. So we have this, let's say 16. And we have 2. And we have these dots. So you can get the dots by using this small circle. So let's change this to this. And we have 7 p.m. tonight. So with this, and this, we want all of them to be an auto layout. So I'll create an auto layout. And I want all of them to have the distance between them. I want the distance between them to be, let's see, 4. I think it's too close. So let's do 8. So now if you notice, this is closer to this than these two. So that means for these two, you can make them auto layouts differently and use 4 here. So this is in auto layout with this. So then the parent auto layout, we're going to make the fill white and use a stroke of this color. No, I'm going to use this stroke. Let's see how it looks. And I'm going to, so let's work on the auto layout now. So there's a distance between this auto layout. So there's a distance on the left. So let's say the distance here, the padding on the left and right, the horizontal padding, let's give it 8. And the top, let's also give it 8. Then let's make it round. I think you can change this color to be a little bit. Then do this too. Let's do tick. So it's okay like this. And we've gotten this with an auto layout. And you can change all the colors to inside colors to subheading. Now, this nearby is just to get this icon and this text. Let me write the text out. And let's get to the icon. So the main thing that we're going to be doing is saving these cards. So location. Let's drag it in. And use it to 16. Make auto layout. Center it. 4. So as you're joining on YouTube, be preparing your questions based on what we are doing. Hopefully we'll get to that. We remember we used 8 and 8 here for top and bottom. So we can use same 8 and 8. Let's copy this stroke. So we have this too, and the auto layout, and distance between them will be 16. Let's say 8. So we have something similar to this. If you shut this off, we have something very similar to this. You can choose to bring this down a little. So with this, let's go over to making this these cards, which is the main thing that we want to show how we're going to combine auto layout, variants, and the rest. So I'm going to first of all type the heading. Happy hours. So we have view all. Now I want to pull back my layouts. So by the way, I'm using, although when I share it, you can see the layouts I'm using. So let me reduce this. This bold and use this color I saved. I know your last task is about style guide, so you understand how I save these colors and use them. So I'm going to use auto layout here, but I'm going to show us something. So because I'm using auto layout and I just start typing, it distorts it. So if I want both of them to remain at this end without coming to the center or anything, so what I'll do is I'll go here. I'll go to while this auto layout is selected. I'll go for changes from path to space between. So what it means is if I'm changing this text, it's going to start from the end. So whatever I'm typing is going to start from the end. So that's an interesting thing to do. So let's say tomorrow we want to change this button. Is going to still remain. You will not have to rearrange them. Both this one and this one. And anything that you put in between will arrange itself in the same distance. So going further, let's create this. Let's make this card. Let's first of all make the ball the outside that is holding it. So let's just use a rectangle. So I clicked R to get the rectangle. So this, let's assume this is enough. Is it enough? 16. Okay. So we have this guy and we want to do Ctrl+C+V, which is copy to get this. And let's change this from these edges, this 16, 16, 16, 16. I clicked here to get it. So these are individual corners. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the first one, this is the second one. So you are going to change the third and fourth one. So to 0, to 0. And just get a plugin on Splash. Just get a bar, something. So let's use this and change this to white. So with this, we have, let's just type. So we have this and we have this tag. So let me just do the text and can get all the icons later. Chris, are you back?
No, it's not.
Okay. So that's 5 kilometer. So now I'm going to reduce the size of this. And I'm going to change the color to this subheading color. So we need dot, star. So I can create star by myself. Let's see. You can create a star by yourself. Give it 2, 1. Change the color. So if this is 2, you can use 0.5. So selecting both. Let's get all of them together. So we have these dots. You can use press O and get these dots. Let's make it 6 or 4. So we have these 2. So all these are together except this star. So this star and this 4.5 is together. So I'll make it auto layout. And I will change the distance between them to 2. And every other thing is together. So I'm going to select all of them and make them auto layout. And I'll change the distance to 4. Then for this, we need location. Yeah, location. Let's change it to 24, let's see 16. So if you notice is there, but it's not there because it's inside the frame and it's outside the frame. So the frame is set to clip content. So that's why. So if I click here, I'll be seeing it. So let me just select it and bring it in here. So I have this, and I'll select this. Select both, make auto layouts. I'll use 4. I'll select both, and I want to make, so this is a line. So I want it to have distance between them. Although we can still change it once we do the auto layout. Okay, we have this tag. Let's see, let's look for tag. Let's use for tag. Looking for this tag exactly. I'm not seeing it. Let's look for highlights. Okay, bookmark. Yeah. So part of your work is you have to know the names of almost everything that you're working with. So change this. It's not as thick as this, but it will pass. So now what we want to do is inside the card should have. So after doing I think I can even move this out of the, let me move it out of the frame so you can see what you're working with. So we have these 2. I can select everything, and I think I will use auto layout. So let me select both and make it auto layout. Select both, auto layout. And I want this to be on the same line with this, so I can shift it. If you notice, it's not affecting the text inside. So what I'm going to do, I'll come here and change this to space between. So it's going to align. I'll set this to space between two in case I need to change it. So if you notice, look at what is happening here when I click space between. This will spread out. So that's what we want. Let's use auto layout for this time. 6:45 p.m. To layouts. Let's make the fill. Change it to white. So now let's reduce the top and bottom, which is this to 4. Let's increase the left and right, which is the horizontal padding. Let's increase it to 12. And let's make this little bit 4. So we have this, and we have this, and we have this. So we can make this. Let me pick this out. So this can be tags and make it a component and bring it out and use it here. So whenever we want to use it, if we want to make changes, it won't be difficult for us. So I can change this. 7. So let's reduce the size. So if you click here, you go to the main component. So let's reduce the size to 12. If you click here, return to instance, you return to the instance that you're working with. So 7:45. Select all, to layout, make this 8. So I can select everything here and make them auto layout and reduce it to so what do we use? Let's use 8. Then select everything here. Now we want to make these 2 auto layouts. So let's make these 2 auto layouts. Now with these 2 made auto layouts, you see that it's in the center. And what we want to do is, let me delete this background. So this is the frame, the card frame. Let me change the name to the card. And I want this to come down. So I can say, and make it fill. So, okay, I've not added this 1000. So let me add it so we can see. Plus 1000 PTS. Change the color. I'm going to see how I'll add it. I'll cut it, Control X. I'll come here and I'll paste it. Sorry. I'll click here and I'll do Control V. Now, if you notice, it's pasting it here. I don't want it to paste it here. I want it to be with this guy. So I'll make this auto layout and I want it to be on this side. But let me reduce this to 2 or even 0. So I want it to be this side. What I will do is I will just come here and click here. So it's going to be this side. So, and you notice this line increase too. Now with this selected, I can say, so if you notice, there's a white space here. And that's because the card itself is not taking this auto layout. So with this selected, this card, I think it's time for me to say this is 0. So if I just want to make the curve, I'll make it on the card itself. And making sure that this clip content is selected, so it applies it. If not, you'll be frustrated when you are making this, let's say 8, and it's not going to work. That's because the clip content is not selected. Once you select it, it applies. If you don't select this clip content, it's not going to work. So let me use 16 that we are using. So we need a little bit more gap between this and this. So click here and you see the bottom padding. So let's give the bottom padding 8. And we have our card. So with this card, we can say this is booking card. I think there's one more thing remaining, which is adding these 3 dots. And there's a new feature that Figma added when they updated the auto layout. So let's try it out. Let's add this more icon. Okay. Yeah, this. So now watch what will happen when I add this. And this may frustrate many people. So as I add this, it can't enter here. So it's going to stay here. And I want it to be here. So what I can do is, can say absolute position, then I can move it to where I want it to be. But this absolute position takes the auto layout. So if I select this, it goes out of the absolute position. So it ignores everything around it in the auto layout, that you can add things that you want to add without being afraid of it not scattering your auto layout. So this absolute positioning was a killer feature, and it's nice. So, and if you notice something, there's a background, there's a shadow behind it, because it needs to show up even when you have a lighter background. So let's add a shadow here, a drop shadow here. Let's increase this. So I want it to be very dark. Okay, I think this is showing. Add it here. Showing now. So this is that for the card. Let's make it components. Now let's drag it in here. So making sure it sits pretty. We want it. We can copy it out. And if you notice, we can't see it because we can't see the background because it's white on white. So there's a drop shadow there. So I'll add the drop shadow here. And once I add it here, so if you forget to add anything, you can always come back to the main component to add it. So I'll go to effects and I'll click this. So it has added already. So I can just fine tune the drop shadow to make it look pretty. So I'm going to do this. So I'm not going to use pure black. And I'm going to increase the blur. So it will have the feel of elevation. So I think this is okay, at least. So let's say you want to change this text. You just go ahead and change this. And change this. So everything is changing. Let's say you were done like this, you want to make it 8. To make it. So that's how it works. We want this point to be maybe 300. So this is how auto layout. So with these two, make it auto layout. Select this and make it auto layout. Select these two. So with this, I can just drag this down here and say wine tasting. And change this to barley wine. So that's how easy it is to use this. So no need to start doing everything from the beginning. Change this to wine bar. Change this to 4.6. Change this to 1.1. And every other thing. So with this selected, you can remove this view all. Now, if you notice, as immediately I remove the view all, this wine testing came to the middle. And that's because we spread this across. So you can always remove the space between two parts and it goes back to its normal position. Okay, so you can make this auto layout and reduce this to 24. So for changing of the pictures, images, you can just select this, go to Unsplash, and you can say wine. So we're talking about wine. And it changes. As simple as that. For here, you can also do this. Here, you can change. So I think the essence of this is for you to make design faster and maintain consistency. So this card and this card is looking alike because they were designed alike. Everything here is looking. So let's look at the prototype and see. So I think the only thing we did on the prototype end is for so I think let's do something. Let's try something. We have this and okay, so I wanted to do on hover. On hover, this will squeeze back. Okay. Results. So what was the time? 15 minutes to answer question. I think we'll answer question. We can do those ones later. So we've combined variants, components, and auto layouts. Variants, components, and auto layouts in doing this simple design. Let me. So these are reference, and this is our design. So I would like to take questions now on what we've done. Confusion, anything that is confusing you, let's hear them. Guys, can you help me get the questions from YouTube? Trust. Or are there no questions?
There is one. How did you select multiple components at once?
I don't think I understand the question, but for you to select things at once, if you click on this, you hold down your shift and you click on this and you click on holding down your shift, you can select multiple things by holding down shifts. Then if you want to select things that are inside a frame, what be it text, be it images, because you have to, for you to select it regularly, you have to double click. For you to do that, for you to avoid that, just hold Command or Control, and you see you can select it. Even if it's in the deepest part of the auto layout, just hold Control and you can select it. Please show us variants and components and how you create them. I think I did that. This is a component, this is a component, and this is a variant. So with this, I can change this from this to this. So these are variants. For buttons, let's say you have this button. Let me use button to show an example of what I mean. So you have this button, you've created this, you've made it, let's say, let's leave the, you've made it, let's use 16. You've used this color to fill it. You've made it white. So you have this button, and this is your default button. And you have this button as your selected button, but it's a little bit darker. So let's use this. So these two buttons now, you can rename them as button slash this, button slash this, and you make them multiple components. Then you make them variants. So you first of all create components, then you create variants. So you make them variants, and you want this to, so for you to, so this is the type. So you can change this to type of button. So you can add more, let's say default, you can use this plus to add a default, a disabled button. So you can say disabled, and you can make it disabled. You can use this. So these are variants. So what it means is I can bring this out anywhere in my design. I can choose either of the buttons I want. So that's how you create variants and components. Okay, so let's see. Must we use auto layouts for everything? No, you mustn't. You mustn't use auto layouts for everything. In fact, you shouldn't use auto layouts for everything if you don't understand it properly. But once you understand it and you practice with it, learn more about it, you see that you tend to use auto layouts for everything. Because, for example, imagine not using auto layouts for this card, and I want to change this text. I'm changing this text, this thing will scatter because if I just made it a group, it will not look good. Same thing with this. If I'm not using auto layout here and I'm editing this, you see what's happening? It's taking the space. Why not affecting this? So auto layout is like a lifesaver. So you mustn't use it, but it's very nice if you know how to use it. How do you determine icons that will be used on a project, considering you have to put a style guide? So you may not spread it. For you to get icons, there are icon packs that you can get, but it's good to maintain icon consistency. There are types of icons. There's line icons or outline icons. There is field icons, and there is a mixed icon, which is not fully filled and not line. So, but when you're using one, you're using line, maintain line. If you're using field, maintain field. Because these guys now, they mix up their icons. They use, but majority of the icons is line. But here they were using field. So if you're going to do that, you're going to maintain line or true. So that's the best way to work. Can the card be stretched? Yes, it can be stretched, but you do well to avoid that. The card, once you add another thing, let's say you want this to be true. So if you do Control D, you see that the card is stretching. Here, it's stretching, and if you say, so you can select this and increase the distances between them, and it's stretching. But if you use your hand to stretch the card, look at what's happening. It's not going to stretch with it because you do not set it to fill the container. So in instance that you need to stretch it, yes, you can. But if you add more content, it's going to stretch by itself if you're using that. What are variants, instances, and components? I think that's what we've been talking about since. Components are the main, like, let's say component is a pan to bake the bread, and anything that you pass through that pan will have that shape of that pan. So that's what component is. So everything that you copy from that component will have that same qualities, same properties of it. And instances are what you copy as from components. So let me give you an example. This is a component. You look at the 4 dots here, diagonal dots. If you copy this out, that dot disappears. It just becomes a diagonal rectangle square. So that's a diamond square. So what am I saying? It just becomes a diamond with an empty distance. So this shows you that this is a component. You can always click here to go back to main component. Then, yeah, I think I've mentioned instances. Then variants is what I've explained. To make the bookmark sign bolder or thicker, can we increase the stroke? No, you can't. Let me show you why you can't. So this is the, let me go to the main. So this is the icon. So it's not a stroke, is it? No. So it's a fill. So if you add a stroke, you're adding another stroke to the fill. So after designing, let me show you how icons are made. So let's say you want to make an icon using a pen tool, an icon like this. So if this is an icon, after creating it, this is a stroke. After creating it, what they do is they flatten it. And once you flatten the icon, it's the shape, it goes from stroke to fill. Let's see. Flatten. Okay, sorry, it's not flatten. Let me see. So this is what they do. they outline the stroke, outline stroke. So it goes to fill. So what it means is this is a fill now, not a stroke. So if you're adding a stroke, you're adding, see, you're adding it outside it. So you can't really do that. Can the nav buttons, okay, let's talk instance, is it the same with variants? I think I've talked about this over and over. Can the nav buttons be done with auto layout as well? Yes. In fact, everything on this page can be done with auto layout. In fact, the nav button should be done with auto layout. I assume you are talking about this navigation. In fact, it's easier to do with auto layout. Use space between and everything will be set. How do you separate the card image from the text below in the frame? So there's a distance between it. The distance. So the distance is, you select this, you see the distance is 13, so I think I will make it 16. So that's the how you separate it. You didn't add the other icons beneath. Can we extend the frame? Which icons are beneath? I think I added all the icons. Okay, except you're talking about this navigation bottom nav. So I didn't do the bottom nav. We are running out of time, that's why. Can you slowly illustrate again what makes a component and what makes a variant? I think I've done that. Please explain again the difference between packed and space between with simple example. I tried, let me see if I can answer that. So the difference between packed and, so let me use this as an example. So I just pressed O on my keyboard. So I have this. So you do see this in designs. Where you have this and this and this. So I want this to be like people that are online or that have been added. So let me use one of my plugins, UI Faces. So I want this to just apply an avatar for me. So this is called UI Faces, by the way, in case you want to get it. So selecting all of them, right? I want to show the difference between packed and, let me make it auto layout. So these are auto layouts. You know how to make auto layout, Shift A. So this is packed, right? And with packed, let me press enter and give it a, let me give it a stroke outside, make it 2. So with this, I want these guys to be on top of each other. So I can drag this to make it negative. Before this was not possible. I can also say, I want this to be space between. And what this means is I can do this, Control CV. You see what's happening? It's adding it without going beyond the length. Can do CV. It's still adding it. So it's not expanding, but watch what happens once I say packed. So if I use packed, it's going to spread it across. So it's going to spread it across. Now there's another thing. If you notice, this is outside. So it's not including the stroke. So you can go here and say strokes included. So you're going to include it. So this is like interesting. So you can say you want this to be stacked on each other like this. So you do see designs that have this. So you can drag this, or you can reduce the distance between them. If you want this to go first and want this to come second, you can always reorder it, last on top to first on top, so you can reorder it. Think we are well above time, but let me see which question I can. Sorry, by deleting it, you can always get access to this. I tried adding auto layout to a card and it scattered the whole arrangement. I don't really know what you did wrong. Any solution to that? I don't know what you did wrong, so I can't give a solution to what I don't see. Please, let's see the prototype. I think the only thing I prototyped here was this. So I did not prototype the card, so I don't think there's any reason seeing the prototype. The spacers on auto layouts doesn't work for me. I tried using it, but the object does not move. Could there be something wrong? So I think what I just explained now will help you. This will help you. Using this will help you. So knowing that this is horizontal pattern, the distance between this part and this part. So also knowing that this is vertical pattern, distance between this part and this part. Exactly what exactly is the use of designing grid lines, of you designing using grid lines? Those grid lines at the back end of Figma. You're using many big words. So grid lines makes the designs. So look at the grid that I'm using. So it makes everything on the same line. You see? So this, I don't need it to be on the same line because I want to be able to scroll horizontally. So grid line is to make your work aligned. How can you edit variants? By going to the main component to variant and edit it. It's as simple as that. The spacers are not allowed. Okay, I think I've answered this. How does spacers work? Where are you putting spacers, please? Spacers. I don't even getting question about spacers. Where is spacers, please? I don't even know. Is there anything called spacers here? Yeah? Were they taught anything spacers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, they were taught spacers. Is it this space between items?
Yeah, the space between items. But I guess what they want to know is how they can apply it to their designs. They were taught how to create spatial styles.
Oh, so if you're talking about these spacers here, I think I explained it when I was talking about this. So if you select this space is a spacer, or there is 16. So if you increase this, you are increasing the distance between this. So you see it is increasing. If you reduce it, you are reducing the distance between it. So it's between two. So it can't work when you have only 110 in your auto layout. So if you have something like this, the spacer is here, but it doesn't do anything. If you like change it to 4,000, it doesn't do anything. But once you introduce another element inside it, watch. If you do Control CV, because you've made it 1,000, it's going 4,000. It's going to take up that 4,000 space. So that's what the so-called spacers are. So hopefully it's understandable. As we extend the frame height at the bottom to add remaining icons, so you shouldn't extend the frame to add. So if you're using auto layout, if you just add it to extend by itself. If you're using normal frame, if you extend it, then you can add. And if it's components, it updates all the instances, all the children. We are asked to add rectangles and lines to our columns and rows. Can you show us how? Add rectangles and lines. Do you understand this question? Trust, do you understand the question?
I'm sorry, what's the
9.
question again?
So we are asked to add rectangles and lines to our columns and rows. Can
No,
you
I
show
don't.
us how?
No, I don't.
Okay,
Maybe the person
I don't
can
understand the question too.
explain better. I don't.
Yeah, so can I make a component that has a component inside, like the happy hour section as a component, even though it has a card component? Yes, you can. Definitely can. So it's called nested components. You can add a component inside a component. In fact, let's do it. So I think we did it. So we have this component. So this is a component. This is a component. This tag is a component, and everything is inside this component. So yeah, we can do that. Can I? Okay, I guess the person wants to know how to create a card with different instances. Yeah, I showed it here. Could you explain components? I think I've done that over and over again. Can the card be stretched? I've talked about it. Is there a default size and height for buttons? When creating buttons, is there a default height? So yeah, there are default sizes. So they are different. So there's an Apple guideline. There's a material guideline. Material guideline is used by Android and any other person too. Apple guideline is used by when you're designing Apple products. So they have standard buttons. You can go higher than that, but most times you shouldn't go lower than that because they've done research on the real estate that it needs for someone's thumb to be able to press the button. So the button should not be lower. The button should not be lower than 40. But most instances, there are some things that you need to do that you have 32, but the button should not be lower than 40. So it should be in the range of 40, 44, 48, 56. Some even go further to do bedroom and parlor of 64, 72. But it shouldn't be higher than that because you can't be having 72 and everything. And on mobile, you may not need to have that big buttons. But on web, you can get away with 72, which is very, very big. What is that plugin for stacking pictures? There's no plugin for stacking pictures, but there's a plugin for getting pictures. It's called UI Faces. UI Faces. You can get it on Figma. Is there a standard measurement for upper and lower navigation? Measurements, I don't understand. Do you mean standard height? There are standard heights. You can get them. Let me see. Let me see. If you go to material.io, so you can get. I will recommend you go to this website and read it, study it. So there's even an update. Study it. There are guidelines to designing different things. So I will share this on the product channel, so you can go through it and go through the design part where you study about the layout, the navigation, everything. You understand it better. So please, how can one achieve color styling after you name it? I don't understand this question, but let's say I've already made these styles. So before the class, so let's say you have, let me get this. So let's say you have this and you have this and you want to name it. So you just click here, this and click this add and you rename it to Kunle. And you've created the style. So anywhere you want to add Kunle, let's say you have this text. You want to change it to Kunle, come here, select it. So that's how it works. So yeah, that's the much we can take for today. We didn't get around to doing the mock-up. I think Chris was a little bit unavailable today. But hopefully, okay, when you say 64, So I mean the height. You shouldn't control the width of your button, except you know for sure where it's going to fit. The width of your button can change, but your height should not change. That's a rule. The width can change, but the height should not change. So hopefully we learned a thing or two today, and we're going to talk more. Maybe we'll use the next week for looking at your designs. Hopefully then you have 1 or 2 designs to share. Before the drop in, you can get 1 or 2 designs, and we can talk about it, discuss about it, and see things that we can give insights and
Wow.
tell you what you did wrong and what you did right. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you very much. Hope to talk to you guys soon. I will share the material.io link on Figma on Slack. So let's have a nice